What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check updates, the two new upcoming packages. Part one, the physical infrastructure package, which we have more information about the next vote. Part two, the next stimulus package, which is $3.5 trillion, the largest stimulus package yet to date. New information from Senator Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Dun, dun, dun. You know, the two that are always meddling in the deal for the Democrats, the dinos, the Democrats in name only, what they're saying about the next deal and what is going to happen with that. Yeah, we're going to hear directly from that. And a new monthly stimulus check bill for $1,200 monthly checks. An actual bill introduced today by a Democratic leader. Yes, for $1,200 checks. We're going to go about in all over that in this video. Yeah, voting, $1,200 checks, Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema. Yeah, you are not going to want to miss this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We are going to literally have breaking news coming out every single episode at this point. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not miss any episodes at this point. If you're subscribed, you can click the bell icon down below next to the subscribe button to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live at those times, Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit the like button, and let's jump right in to item number one. Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar has introduced a new guaranteed income bill, or also known as Universal Basic Income Bill, that would send $1,200 monthly checks or monthly stimulus checks to most Americans if passed. This bill was just announced today. Omar's bill would fund guaranteed income pilot programs in hundreds of communities across the United States. Then, if successful, would launch a national program to send $1,200 monthly checks to millions of people making up to $75,000 per year. Yeah, so it would send $1,200 monthly checks to most Americans, also known as guaranteed income or universal basic income, a long time sought after program by many Democrats. This has now been introduced as an official bill by Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar. She said she was going to introduce a bill like this later on this year, and she has now introduced this bill today. It says Representative Ilhan Omar, Democratic representative from Minnesota, is set to introduce bold legislation on Friday that would create a guaranteed income program in the U.S. to send $1,200 a month directly to most Americans. Now, the way this program would work, if it were to pass, and this would probably happen after these next two packages, I definitely don't think that this will pass or they would even take it up for legislation before package one, the infrastructure package, and stimulus package part two. Those are definitely priorities right now. This is a bill that has just been introduced, so this would come into play after these next two packages. But they would have $2.5 billion to set up test pilot programs across the country, like programs that are actually going on right now across the country that I'll show you here in a second. So $2.5 billion for universal basic income programs to set up in addition to the programs that are already going on across the country, and set up monthly payments for low-income individuals. The number that she referenced was people making under $75,000 a year, and she also referenced $1,200 monthly checks. Okay, again, to start with test pilot programs, so it would not start off for everybody, then see how the programs go. Then if it went well, they would push for national funding across the country. And let me show you these programs that are already going on. I'll take myself out of the screen right now. This is called the Mayors for Guaranteed Income Yeah, Mayors for Guaranteed Income. We've referenced this a couple times on the show because it's literally going on in a lot of cities and states across the country. Literally dozens of cities across the country. The Mayors for Guaranteed Income program in a lot of areas. So this would set up even more with starting with $2.5 billion more for the country, and then would then push to make this a national program, basically to support low middle income families across the United States. So again, these are the type of programs that Democrats are pushing for going forward. Remember, they have about a year, a little bit over a year until the next election. So they get that full 2 years that they were elected to into power. Remember, I don't control the election. I'm just reporting to you the type of bills they bring in, what they want to pass, this next stimulus package, which is $3.5 trillion, which is going to be the largest stimulus package yet to date. And the Democrats themselves are calling an anti-poverty plan, and could include stimulus checks, could include an extension of the monthly checks that some people actually consider universal basic income. These monthly checks that are going out to children right now and the families of children, $250 to $300 per month. Some people call it child support from the government, these $3,000 to $3,600 in total for the year child tax credits. Remember, the government doesn't have to do that. They've only passed that for just this 1 year. They passed that in the third stimulus check package. So if they don't pass that again this year, those payments are going to stop. That $3,000 to $3,600, that $250 to $300 per month. They want to extend that in this next package, this $3.5 trillion anti-poverty plan, this next stimulus package that actually Senator Bernie Sanders is in charge of. They're calling him the deal maker. And remember, he's the one that is kind of the number one guy pushing for more stimulus. Him and at the time, Republican Senator Josh Hawley were the guys that said, no, we have to have a stimulus check. This was when the second stimulus check was in play, and they added it in at the last minute. It seems like they always add in stimulus checks in at the last minute. Well, negotiations are always a thing. They're always negotiating up until the last minute. And, well, here's what they're saying now about the next stimulus package and the infrastructure package. And here's what, in fact, here's Ilhan Omar, the lady who just announced or introduced this bill for universal basic income. Here's her being interviewed about the infrastructure package. But here's her response to what Joe Manchin, dun dun dun, and Kirsten Sinema, dun dun dun. Here's what they just actually just said about the $3.5 trillion package. Now, here's what they're gonna have. Here's what you're gonna hear what they said, and then we'll discuss what this means going forward. Check this out.
Yesterday, 67 Senate Democrats and Republicans came together to advance a roughly $1 trillion proposal to improve America's aging infrastructure. While many from both sides celebrated clearing the first procedural hurdle, new challenges emerge. Today, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin told reporters there's no guarantee he will agree to passing the party's $3.5 trillion human infrastructure spending proposal. The Democrats want to pass using a Senate procedure that would only require 50 votes. This comes on the heels of Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema announcing that she does not support that plan in its current form. This almost immediately infuriated many House progressives who signaled that they would not vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill without a separate human infrastructure bill that meets the moment. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted this warning to Senator Sinema. Good luck tanking your own party's investment on childcare, climate action, and infrastructure while presuming you'll survive a 3-vote House margin, especially after choosing to exclude members of color from negotiations and calling that a bipartisan accomplishment. Joining me now, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Her memoir, This Is What America Looks Like, is now available in paperback. Congresswoman, your take on this bipartisan deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important for us to remember that we've laid out as members of the Progressive Caucus. As you know, I serve as the whip. We've whipped on this. There is no path forward for a bipartisan bill that doesn't move simultaneously with the reconciliation bill. And I know that, our colleagues on the other side on the Senate fully understand that. And this is why I think that they've been lobbying, these two senators to essentially, as AOC was saying, to sink these bills that are a priority for Democrats.
Let me ask it a slightly different way, which is, are you willing to pass it if the human infrastructure proposal is whittled down?
I am willing to pass it, if there is bills that are passing simultaneously. We believe this is a one-time opportunity, a generational opportunity that we have to truly create transformational policy and pass it through the reconciliation process. I don't think it is possible for us to pass this bipartisan infrastructure bill without having the guarantee that a reconciliation bill that fully funds our priorities is going to pass as well.
Let me ask you about those priorities. I mean, are there deal breakers for you? Are there pieces of this legislation that if you start tinkering with or you take out from the human infrastructure piece that then you walk?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very clear. We've said, we've got the 5 priorities: investing in the care economy, addressing the climate crisis, obviously addressing things like immigration, and expanding, healthcare so that more people are covered. We are willing to negotiate the amount of investment that goes into these priorities, but we're not willing to negotiate having these priorities not be included in the legislation that passes.
Congresswoman, when we zoom out, whether you're talking about infrastructure, voting rights, the role of Sinema and Manchin is pretty clear. Where is that progressives' plan to hold the line?
We've been very clear. We've got 5 priorities. If those priorities aren't met, there is not going to be a piece of legislation that passes. And we obviously, don't want to say we're not going to support, we're not negotiating. We've been very clear. 4 months ago, we put out our priorities. We said, this is what we're willing to do. These are our red lines. This is what we want to bring with us as we negotiate. It's clearly understood. Senator Bernie Sanders, who chairs the Budget Committee on the Senate side, has also been very clear about that. And I think it's really important for us to realize that on our side, we are trying to do the most good on behalf of the American people that gave us the majority, that believed in us delivering something tangible for them. And we definitely can't allow Republicans who have been focused on obstruction to be able to lobby Democrats to actually get in their own way.
Yeah, so the same thing happened with the third stimulus check package. I'm going to see some comments down below in the comments to say, see, I told you, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, they're gonna block this whole deal. Remember, the Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema did the exact same thing with the third stimulus check package. I don't know why. They're considered moderate Democrats. The Republicans have people on the same thing. Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham come to mind. In fact, when the Republicans had the control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, Lindsey Graham was one of the people that the Republicans wanted, and former President Trump wanted to get rid of the filibuster back then. And Lindsey Graham was one of the senators that didn't want to get rid of this the filibuster. And now it's Joe Manchin who doesn't want to get rid of the filibuster. I think that at some point, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, at some point they're going to get rid of the filibuster. Whether it's this year or some point in the future, they've weakened the filibuster several different times throughout the years. At some point, I think they will get rid of the filibuster. Now, the Republicans hate it now, but they don't want to get rid of it now. But a few years ago, they wanted to get rid of the filibuster. Former President Trump wanted to get rid of the filibuster because it's a huge hindrance. It's a huge roadblock to passing bills in the Senate. And honestly, there's always people on both sides that are kind of like, I don't know about this bill and I don't know about that bill. And believe it or not, they will pass this bill just like they passed the last bill. They'll just have to negotiate. Just like the bipartisan infrastructure bill a few days ago, I think it was on Monday, it didn't pass with the Republicans. What did they do? That vote passed. They didn't get a single Republican vote. They had to negotiate, and then now they have passed the first part. By the way, if we look here, Senate set to advance bipartisan infrastructure bill on Friday in the next vote. So the next vote for the infrastructure bill should be today. So I will have an update for you guys here on my next video at 8 p.m. And honestly, they're probably going to be working on this throughout the weekend. They could have the infrastructure bill completely passed by this weekend if everything does not fall apart. Then they move on to the stimulus package, and we'll be working on that next week. So we could have this next stimulus package passed by next week. So everything is literally moving very, very quickly. Also, former President Donald Trump is continuing to pressure the Republicans to kill the infrastructure deal, to not vote on it. Former President Trump is saying that the bipartisan infrastructure bill will lead to massive socialist expansion with the next bill, I presume. And remember, the Democrats are going to pass that without the Republicans anyways. Former President Trump is ramping up his pressure campaign over the bipartisan infrastructure package, accusing Senate Republicans of caving to Democrats on the deal. In a statement, his latest in a series of condemning the infrastructure deal, Trump said that the proposal amounted to a carrot for a massive socialist expansion, allowing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to bait Republicans into approving other parts of the Democrats' policy agenda. Quote, once they pass this bill out to the Senate, it will sit in the House until they get steamrolled by the biggest government expansion in a generation. Tax increases on everyone, government-run healthcare, more government-run schools, amnesty for illegal immigrants, masks, and more terrible socialist programs. Nancy Pelosi has no infrastructure until they get everything else. Yeah, so former President Trump is trying to kill the deal. I know that Nancy Pelosi is his arch enemy, and really the Democrats are kind of his arch enemy. But he's kind of in a rock and a hard place here because the Democrats are going to pass the second package without him anyways through the reconciliation process and reconciliation card. And, you know, that's what former President Trump did with the 2017 Trump tax cuts. When they had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they passed that without the Democrats. And when you have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, that's what happens. You can pass things without the other party. That's what Trump did in 2017. That's what Democrats did with the third stimulus check package. The Republicans can't really do anything about it, just like the Democrats couldn't do anything about the 2017 Trump tax cuts. Now, the Republicans could kill the first infrastructure package deal, but that would really only be a temporary delay because the Democrats could literally just take that deal and combine it with the second part, the stimulus package, and they could combine them and just pass them together. So, yeah, I'm just letting you know what's going on, what could happen, and you know, I'm reporting you everything here. So, and I'm reporting you both sides because Republicans watch this show, Democrats watch this show, and that is what is going on here with this country. So, also make sure to subscribe. I will have a huge update for you guys at 8 p.m. They literally could have voted on it by this time. And also, you really have better watch this morning's video about vaccines being made mandatory. Yeah, for real, no joke. So that will be this video right here. Click on this video if you haven't yet to watch about vaccines being made mandatory in several different areas of this country. No joke. It's for real. It's happening in several different areas of this country. So click on that video to watch that next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.